doing. Alright, let's do it to it. Okay. There, there. Alright. Let's see. There. Alright. Oh, that was, what? Oh, that's not good. Somehow my mouse slipped. Not sure on that one. So here, give me a drink, and then let's not have a mouse slip. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes I'm gonna drop it on a spot and it drops somewhere else. Go figure. That's okay. That was my move there, so I would have gotten that one right. So it would have been 22. This one, because then there, now I would have taken here. Let's try one more time. Come on, no glitching. Queen G4. See here. He has to move up here. Takes. Ah. Alright, let's give it one more shot. Come on. Come on. 30, 30. Come on. Speed is the key. do one last one, and then we'll get started. So I want to end on a good note here. Okay. Let's try one more time. Come on, bad. This is here. Thanks. Come on. Uh, okay. I get hung up around 20s. Gotta get quicker. Yeah. I got hung up there. So that. I was thinking maybe that, but I don't think so. Let me see. Ah. So it's all based on the check here to cover these squares. And then mate. Yep. Okay, we'll get on to our end game now with Magnus Carlsen. Oops, I have to set up the board editor. I have to move. e7. Oops. 1 second. Sorry. Gotta go back. Put in the character names. The player names, I mean. Come on. Okay, you are Magnus Carlsen here. White, oops. White to move exclaim. You are Magnus Carlsen. Let's see, what do you think the move is? White to move exclaim. After this move, sorry, after bishop queen e7, white to move exclaim. After queen e7, white to move exclaim. If you said bishop b5, you are right. That's the correct move. Congratulations on finding that. This is a novelty according to the database. Previously, everyone, including Laszlo Porchik, played rook a c1. So Magnus played his first novelty. Not first. Well, that they in the book that it said, not that it's his first, but I mean this game was a novel game, but the move here, bishop b5, was a novelty. And then rook a c1 was normally played, but this was a newer move here. This is Carlsen's home preparation. He intended to give up the bishop for the knight. The idea is not at all obvious. Rook a d1, rook a c1, bishop takes g3, h takes g3, and then c5. d7, not d2 I mean, and then bishop b5. Later in the game, Rozov said that potentially bishop a8 would have actually been a more interesting continuation for this was against Vanjo Pons and managed to hold a draw here, so this would have actually potentially held a draw for black. b5 is more aggressive though, I think, in my opinion. And then e4 exclam. Man, this freezes the bishop out of the game. Bishop a8. White to move, double exclam. I'll give you an opportunity to find this one. White to move, double exclam. We'll see if you can find this. Okay, if you said bishop takes b7, you're right. That's just a double exclam idea. It's a brilliant move because it's not very. It's very subjective and a subjective exchange. Oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, this is a. Oh, good. I'm doing good. This is an idea that you're saying that potentially the light square bishop isn't as good as the knight that was on d7, and so you're exchanging off the only really active piece that potentially can go to e6, which would be the knight. See back here, the knight could have went to f6 and caused some problems on e4 for the e4 pawn. So by exchanging off, it allows well, that goes by the wayside, as we like to say. So queen takes, d takes c, b takes c, oops, b takes c, and then knight b3. That exclam, this is a wonderful move. There's also rook takes c5 here. And then queen d4. Queen. Oh. And then black wins the e pawn, so we don't want that. So queen a4 at this point to attack the pawn and try to put a cross pin on the rook. Rook takes. Carlsen could have played knight takes c5 here, which is an interesting move, and that would have said take my actually all we took here, it's kind of like saying please you can, I'm willing to exchange off my a2 pawn for your more center move. So queen takes d1, queen takes a, and then queen d4. That covers the pawn, covers the knight, and it allows the bishop would then be able to go to c6, and white would have a slight edge, a small edge, rather than the continuation of the game, as white would at least control the D file, which is a vital spot, and potentially be able to go b4 and rook a1 and try to get some attack along there. So rook takes d8, then knight takes c5, queen takes a4, oh not a4, queen takes a2, and then Magnus plays queen b5, exclam at this point. This queen takes a lot of squares away, like the queen, this queen doesn't have this to go to anymore, that, or this. All those squares are taken away, so we need to do one thing. If we can just attack this queen, we would win the queen. King h7. Black has a bad bishop. His hope is to create enough play on the second rank. Occupying the rank now does not work because of f rook d2 double question mark. Well, we know that queen to b2 b8 loses, and our knight to d7, and black has to give up the exchange to save. This is actually a better move here. I'll promote that. There we go. This is actually a better move because what you're planning on doing is playing right there, actually, are here. I was just wondering if that wasn't good enough though. See, I'm not sure if here, if queen there isn't enough counterplay. I'm thinking this might be better. And then the king comes there, rook takes, and then knight could come in, comes in there. Rook can come up. If this was this check. So you'd have to potentially play here. And then attack there. It'd be, man. So maybe this is best, but the only thing that I see is takes there, but thinking that maybe rook check, and then queen to d3 might be the idea. And if you try stopping that, we just pick up the bishop, and then if it takes here, so maybe knight takes is actually better than just taking the bishop. And then if takes here, maybe waiting. Maybe queen queen e f3 might be a good move too. This might actually be a better move. I'm just trying to find the best continuation, because then if rook here, then check, he comes up, and then check, not check there, but check, and then checkmate. Sorry, this would be checkmate. Yeah, so that is better, but yeah, you'd have to find those continuations, and that would be pretty intensive. Okay, where are we at now? King h7, and then pawn f3 to hold this pawn to allow the knight to be able to move. Although black wants to take over the second rank, Magnus nevertheless opens the rank in order to freeze black's bishop. He has calculated that things are okay and greatly covered. So the rook comes in, knight a4, with the idea there to cover the pawn. Rook d4, which is actually a dubious move here. There's really no reason to do that. The Czech Grandmaster allowed Carlsen to simplify down to an endgame. There's one move that black could play here, and I'll see if you can find this move. It's black to move. And it's a double exclam. This is a sideline that would have potentially given black a chance right now, and I'll give you black to move double exclam here. I'll see if you can find it. I'll give you a second. Gotta get a drink. I'll be right back. said F6 or F5. Sorry, you were 100% right. F5 double exclam was the brilliant move. It'd be E takes F, and then A6. A6, Queen B4, Rook C2, an interesting move. Queen F4. Queen E6. How in the world is Queen E6 possible? This is odd. Oh, that makes sense. I missed a move line. Rook D1, and then E takes D5, Queen. All right, there we go. Cause that just didn't seem right. Good, I'm doing good. Play okay. Instead of D1, there's rook takes, B1 check, King H2, Queen takes. Oops, not that. Mouse slip again. I don't like when that happens. And then Queen F4. Oops, not E4. F4. And the endgame is balanced at this point. Knight C3. King C4. Queen C4. Queen takes C4. Rook takes C4. And then rook A1. Exclaim. This is to go after the weak pawn, which there's black plays rook C7. There's also an equalizing move of queen to C6. Then is it very well indeed. But this does lose a pawn, so. but it does get the bishop more active. It's like, you know. And then knight to b5, which is a really good, it's a good move. Knight h5, or knight b7, I mean. Bishop d6, not bishop, knight d6. Let's see here, rook d7, and then rook a6. Exclam. The rook secures the knight on d6, keeps the bishop passive, because if bishop goes there, then you can actually take. It's kind of odd. That's an interesting move. Bishop b7 gives up the pawn in the endgame here. So he could try to hold with rather than playing that, rook c7, rook a5, rook d6, rook d7, knight b5, and rook b7, knight d6, rook d7, and then knight c4. Black will basically have to go through a long, agonizing endgame that he wouldn't want to go through, or they wouldn't want to go through. So rook takes, and then bishop takes, rook d1 check, king king f2. There's also king g6, and then g4. White would play g4 at this point and then get his king into g3. So this is, and then rook d2, king f1, king g6, and then g4 is played here. Magnus vacates the g3 for his king in order to counter Black's rook. So he should be able to save the game. However, from a practical point of view, it is also important to see how many problems White will be able to create for Black in this endgame. King f6 is a dubious move. There's no reason to move that. He should try to get his king involved. He chooses to wait. Black should reduce the number of pawns on the board. So a better move would have actually been f5 exclam for Black to try to get the pawn count down. G takes, takes, he takes, and then rook b6 check, king g5, rook b5, that pins the pawn, and then g6, he takes f5, g takes f5, and then g4, king h4, and Black probably can hold here, but I wouldn't want to risk it. He takes, he takes, G takes, king takes, and rook takes, G there, takes the B pawn. And then, according to the table, chess table, it's a dead draw here, or just a draw. So instead of taking on G, there's B4 that can be played, G5, B5, G4, F takes G, takes, and it is still a draw here. So if after taking here, if king G1, G5, H2, king H2, H5, king G3, rook D3 to pin the pawn, B4, G4, B5 check, king G6, rook B8, takes, and then H4. And black is safe here. So B4 is a playable move here. He's trying to win this endgame. The only way to do that is to get his passed pawn rolling. Man starts pushing his pawn. Okay. Let's get him moving and a grooving. Rook B2, B5, B1 check, king F2, B2 check, king G3, E5, and B6, G6. The last few moves were natural. From now on, it's important and decisive. We will have to be made. Keep all pawns where they stand is not sufficient. So if that's why black played G6. If king E6, keeping all the pawns in place, it's not the best idea, because rook B8, F6, B2, king E7, rook H2. Black can't stop white's king from coming to the queen side. So rook B1, G3, B2, king G1, king F6, king F1, F1, king E7, E1. So it's just gonna keep marching over, and just D there, C, and rook B6, king D2. Now we talked about this endgame. Once the king's able to enter, it's almost too late. King C3. This is I think a Fillenore's position gone bad. That's what Jimmy Stillman calls it. C4. Rook B1, D5, F6, king D6, rook D1 check, king C7, king C1, king D7, king D1, and then king E8, king B1, f4, g6, f5, king f6, and then g5 check. Exclam. Setting up a mating that h takes g, rook c8, rotates b2, and then rook to c6 is checkmate. Thought that was a beautiful checkmate. Rook b8, king g7, king h2 is trying to come to the queen side, king f6. So if rook b1 to stop the king from coming in, of course, b7, king h7, g3, and then we have the same idea of coming over, king h7, and king g2 could actually be played here, and white actually wins like we've seen in the other continuation. King g1, king e6, b7 exclam. Because the idea is actually to play rook e8, queen, rook has to give its life, and the rook comes back and grabs it. Very effective push. It makes black's rook very passive and also limits black's king a lot. To win the game, white must also create a passed pawn on the king side. There are the principle of two weaknesses. King f6, g3, g5, king f1, b1 check, and king e2. There's a line that's king e7 that, oops, back here, king e7, f4, exclam actually here, king d6, rook d8, oops, sorry, not e, king c7, b8 equals queen, rook takes, king takes, then f takes, e5, and white wins. It is worth seeing how the continuation actually moves. King there, king e2, king c6, king d3, king c5, king c3, king b6, king b4, remember opposition, king c6, king c4, king c7, king d5, king d7, and then e6 check. Exclam at this point, because what you're wanting to do is have the pawn move, and then what you can do is move your king in and enter. F takes check, king c5, oh, king c5, oops, yeah, that's even better. Yeah, it was because you can actually be stopped if you go in. I'm thinking this is a mistake here. E5 would be a mistake, because then king E7, and then they hold the position. So this might even be a blunder here. So don't play this move. Play king C5. King C7, E5, king D7, king B6. White has the ability to invade here. So if we go back to F4, F takes E, G takes, G takes, and then A5. White wins by breaking open the kingside shell with A4 to E6 like this, and it breaks the shell of the king. So king E2. The king continues its journey towards the position spotted in the final diagram that we've actually seen before, the one. So B2 check, king D3, B3 check, king C4, king B1, rook B1, king C5, C1 check, king D6, D1 check, D1 check, king C6, king C1 check, king D7, king B1, rook B1, king E8, now king G7. White's king keeps away both kings, black's king from the center, and black has no king opportunity to go to our rook to go to B3 or anything like that. So rook after rook B2, king F8, rook B3, rook C8 exclam. This sets up for a mate, as we've seen in this here. This is a checkmate. So king G7, then king E7, rook B2, king D6. This will win a pawn. If there's no e-pawn, I don't think there will be much doubt that the endgame would end in a draw. So king F6 is a vital move here. And then I'll do the move for you. F4 double exclam at this point. This is a double exclam move. In Wonderful Breakthrough, Magnus had the skill to spot and also find the blow, which will come from an unexpected angle of an attack. E takes, takes, G takes, rook G8. Double exclam again. Hold on, let me get a drink. Okay. It's hard to find the words to describe this. It would be a great thing if, oh sorry, I had to go up here. It'd be a great thing if Magnus had found this tremendous idea somewhat around here, but I think he spotted the move on move 47. Basically, there was a move on move 47. If not earlier on move 38, it would have been favorable for him to find this, but he did find it. So rook b6 check. Rook takes, let me see here, hold on. So b6 check. Oh yeah, this is what we're talking about. If rook takes b2, yeah, if rook takes b2, then e5 is actually a checkmate. This is like a brilliant, beautiful move. And then knight, king c7. Rook takes b2 check. If rook b1, yep, rook takes, if rook b1, then promotes to a queen. Rook takes, and king e5, rook e8 check, d4, rook e7, f3, rook takes f7, king takes c4, f4, rook f6, king e3, king e3. Let me make sure I have this right. I'm sorry, let me see. 3. Oops. Sorry, king e3, and then he has to take care. I knew I thought I forgot something. King f4, rook g6, and at this point, if white wins, because if he tries this move here, check, the king has to stay intact, and then you could play rook takes, f2, king takes, and the pawn goes up the board. King takes, and then f3. Okay, f3, or f3, not king f3, knight c6. Okay, dokie, I'll be right back. I gotta get something. Okay, dokie. Back. I found what I needed. And thanks. check. Of course, we've seen this. F4, D5, F6. Well, maybe it's instead of F2. And Rook F8. And it's over. Hirek resigned as Magnus would win effectivelessness, which means easy. I think this is the first game in the book where that Carlsen, for his first game in the book, Carlsen played at the level of an all-time greatest player. He would he played a novelty that was worth trying. He felt fantastic, but his position felt fantastic. And that his knight was excellently would be an excellent exchange for the bishop, and he brought down his opponent with great imagination and precision in a rook endgame, a masterpiece. Okay, and okay, let's do. You said you have a question? We'll do 6 puzzles, and then I gotta say adieu. This was fun. Yeah, I'll do 6. So we'll get on to the puzzles. Oh, you didn't understand move 2. I go back. Let me see here. Knight to bishop B5. You didn't understand what bishop B5 was? Well, it was a novelty. Excuse me. The whole idea was to trade off Magnus's opponent's knight for the light squared bishop, and he's basically saying to black that your knight is stronger than my bishop, and then it's a closed position. My knight would be a very my knight's a more effective piece. Did that answer your question? And that he's basically Magnus is like Jeremy Silman in Reassess Your Chess, the 4th edition, the imbalance right here, chess imbalances. He's basically making an imbalance, and he's saying that his knight imbalance is better than the 2 bishops. We'll do 6 puzzles, and then I gotta log. I know I'm cutting it off a little early. But sometimes I get allergies, and I get like sinus headaches sometimes, and I feel like that's coming on, but I got it. We got an end game, man. We have plenty of time for to do our opening. I'm glad we got an end game in because end game is a very important part of chess. It's it's one of the most neglected. Of course, we've always seen one of the most neglected areas, kind of. They teach opening first before they teach endgame. There we go, mate 2. Wow. Yep. This is called a Anastasia's mate. It's a pattern. Oops. Well, the grandmasters know like hundreds of thousands of these tactical puzzles. That's why we're going over doing our we do Puzzle Rush every day just to get used to the tactics, because those are seen really often if you think about it, because those are played on chess.com, and I figure if oh no, come on, there we go, sweet. Uh-oh, sorry, there we go. Let me see here. Almost forgot a queen. Let's see, make sure that we're good. All right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. uh, you'll get it. Don't worry. You gotta always think the positive thoughts that are going to help with chess learning and improvement. That's why I always say that thoughts are huge when it comes to chess before the game. Even when you sit down, even if it's an online game, it's a vital part your mindset when you go into a game. Same thing when you go into puzzles. You don't want to go into puzzles frustrated. You want to go into them fresh and ready to rock and to roll. There you go. Wow. There you go. That was speedy for sure. Is it kind of, it's lagging? That's cute. Okay. There we go. That is funny. Ooh, it's cute. Okay. We aren't playing for it. They actually have 6-player chess? I didn't know they had 6-player chess. That must be totally insane. Oops. Oops, wait. One more. Let's see here. Perfect. There we go. Congratulations. Remember, you're all winners. It's all as when you learn, you're a winner. So if you learn something new from these puzzles, it doesn't matter what the it's congratulations on Wizards for that 5-1. But remember, if you learn something, then you're a winner. You did great. Yeah, and I know Play OK saw it, but internet, and I have experienced lag before, so I know how it feels when you're on a record pace for Puzzle Rush. So, do you have any questions? I almost yesterday had 30. I was 2 away, and my computer glitched on me and lagged. Checkmating puzzles. Yeah, I may do that. I'll do it when we start checkmating threes. That's a little bit further in. That'll be a fun one to do it on. Checkmated twos are basically the staples. So do you have a question? Any questions before I log off on chess? Because they enforcing moves. There's the gentleman who they call it bread and butter tactics. The moves for a certain level, I think it's like from 12 to 1800. He said are you can it's 2 to 4 move combinations, 2 to 4 moves, and you're right as rain that. And then when you get to like 2000, he said that you get into more theory at that point. 2000 and above is based on theory. Okay. Oh, you are funny. That is funny. I will take that as a no questions there. That is funny. But you know what? I wanted to thank you for all logging on, participating. Sorry it's a little shorter. Allergies are not fun sometimes. I get sometimes allergy headaches, and it's not fun, and I can't focus. But I didn't want to end without doing our puzzles, so we got to do 6 puzzles, and we did an end game, which is really good. So that's what I'm talking about when it doesn't matter how much you do, but you got to do something every day, even if you might have a slight headache. I know it's painful and stuff, but even if you just imagine are in your mind when you kind of maybe when you're laid down or something, that you just think about a puzzle or something that you priorly worked on. You don't have to look at the screen. You don't have to look at the board. Our minds that the Lord's given us, the Lord Jesus has given us, is wonderfully made, and we can actually visualize a board in our mind and play moves in our mind. So so like if you may have a headache and you're like, I don't want to study today, you can study in your mind. You can think of, oh, I remember the Lucinda mate, it's this, this, and this, and then you set it up in your mind, a position, and you play through it. That's studying. That is studying. You may think, oh, but I only did one thing. Yes, but you still worked your mind. It's they I had we had a I had a trainer that said that that's called active rest. Sometimes if you're, after like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days of working out, they'll do something like active rest will be like walking, stretching, certain things like that. And it just keeps, it does, you don't just stop working out. You just do like low cardio and stuff that isn't going to hurt your knees or joints while your body's recovering. Same thing. And that's exactly what just using your mind is based on. And so remember though to uh, that you have to keep your thoughts correctly in place when you're doing over the board. And so that's, I'll leave you with that. And as Wesley so says for the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless. I'll see you next time on Chest Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll keep pushing forward. And then also I wanted to add one more thing that Solomon was the wisest man in all the earth, and he wasn't sometimes right with the Lord. So it's no one's perfect, but the Lord did still give Solomon his wisdom. He still allowed him to have it. So we all make mistakes, but it's remember what we said, how do you handle the mistake that defines a person? And what did Hannibal Smith say about forcing moves? Forcing moves are vital, because then it takes your opponent, you take your opponent down the road you want them to go down. And then when that happens, it either leads to a draw or a win. Sometimes we may miss forcing moves and lose, but that happens. Take it back and learn. And so 2 thumbs up, hoorah, be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow. And we will do a more, and I know I'll feel slightly better. We have a lot of stuff in bloom right now, and I appreciate your patience with me. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. So be blessed and honor the Lord Jesus always. Bye bye.